Hello and welcome.
All right, we're back to the show. Welcome to the Church of Mark. Today we have Josh Ritchie on the show.
How's it going?
You may recognize the last name Ritchie because we were just talking to his dad on last week's episode. So welcome back to the show. It's been a while since you've been here.
Yeah, it's been a little while since we've had a proper chat.
That's right.
Yeah.
I think the last time we saw you was at a show.
Yeah.
And that was at the Dakota Tavern, and that was, refresh my memory, that was several months ago.
It was August, I think,
August,
sometime.
okay.
Yeah.
Wow, was it that long ago?
I
My
know,
town
right?
flies, right?
Time
Holy moly.
is weird.
But awesome show. It was fantastic.
Thank you,
Really
yeah.
great songs, really great playing.
Thank you.
Enjoyed all your solos. Amazing band, by the way.
Oh, thank you. I like them. Yeah. We have fun. We have a lot of fun. We have too much fun, arguably.
Okay.
We our newest thing is, so Beaker, our drummer, told a story how he was in some band and they were auditioning bass players, and this one bass player every once in a while in his playing he'd just do finger guns to them, and we thought that was hilarious, so we do it all the time now, all the time. Like literally, we were at a show last weekend, and in the middle of a song where I wasn't playing, I just hit everyone with the finger guns, and they missed it. But yeah, and everyone else thinks we're just weird because it's an inside joke that we do in front of people. But yeah, we have too much fun.
Okay, that's great. And who's all the players in the band?
Yeah, so on keys is my dad, Rob Ritchie. He really is easy because he lives with me and he works cheap. So
and you can drive together to the show.
We can drive together. Like it makes sense. Yeah. Okay. So he's on keys and does most of the backup singing too, like harmonies and stuff.
Okay.
Curtis Yacht is our bass player. Mm-hmm. He is not only a bass player, but a great guitar and bass builder, actually. Oh. So I think I probably didn't have it at the Dakota Tavern, but the bass he was playing, he built that.
Oh, really?
Yeah, from scratch.
Okay.
It's so cool. And he's got these like dirty humbuckers in it, and it's cool. And then he built me like it's sort of a cross between like a Jazzmaster and a Thunderbird body with two P90s in it.
Okay.
And it's so cool. Like it's got a kill switch on the pickup, so it can just do, it's my like I love P90s, but they're so loud that most of the venues,
very noisy.
Yeah, most of the venues I play, they don't always work.
We were just laughing because we had someone here yesterday.
Yeah.
Troubleshooting the noise from their P90s.
Oh wow.
And I just said, "Hey man,
they're P90s.
They're just P90s."
Yeah.
That's what they sound like.
Yeah. So yeah, that's the newest sort of guitar in the collection that he built, which is so cool, and it's
awesome.
Yeah, it's just a lot of fun. And,
excellent.
And I don't get to the shows where I can bring the whole arsenal of guitars enough, but so it doesn't see shows all the time.
Right.
But it's sick. And he's just a killer player too.
Okay.
Like ridiculous. Like because the rest of us are such a tight-knit group, it was sort of like a little worrying adding somebody new to the group, kind of. We didn't want the dynamic to shift or anything. And on the first practice, he's like, yeah, I've ran through the songs a couple times, and he's just like melting face the whole time. And we're like, okay, we like you. You can stay. This is amazing. Yeah. And then Beaker Granger's our drummer. He, everyone, I'm sure many people watching will know Beaker. We have been like in England. People are just like, oh, Beaker, good to see you again. And like in randomest little town in England, and everyone knows Beaker, and he's great. We would be nowhere without him because we literally rehearse in his basement. So,
there you go.
Yeah, without him, we would sound way worse.
Okay, excellent. That's great.
Yeah. But yeah, that's just the 4-piece right now.
Okay.
We're thinking about adding another guitar player.
Oh, another guitar player. Not like a keyboard player or
No, probably another guitar so that I don't have to be glued to one spot the whole time.
Oh, okay.
Because it's like, I like to, I'm kind of a, jittery, move aroundy person. And when you've got the guitar and playing the rhythm and the lead both at once sometimes, you kind of have to like stay still, look down, and not screw up. And it would be nice just on some of the simpler ones to jump around and let my boy band flag fly a little bit.
Yeah. And it'd be good to potentially have another someone to sing backing vocals.
Exactly.
Well,
yeah. Flesh out because on all the recorded stuff, it's just me overdubbed a million times, which is great and it's so much fun until I don't breathe enough and go blue in the face. But yeah, it's kind of hard to do that live.
Right.
Yeah, there's only one of me.
So you're working on a new album as well currently?
Yes. So that.
And you're doing this all yourself, like your previous release, or are you going to use more
We're
of the band?
Use more of the band. Okay. I've learned it's easier to let the drummer drum than learn drums.
That's right. That's right.
And it'll save the editing version of me many hours.
Sure. That's right. And they might bring some ideas to the table. You
right?
Might
Yeah. Like they know how to play. They're not like
That's
guessing.
Right.
Yeah.
That's right.
So yeah, we're definitely going to use all of them. There's a ton of orchestration in it too. So I don't know how we're going to pull that off, but
okay, like orchestration, orchestra stuff. Okay,
oh
good.
yeah, like I think the smallest orchestration-y bit is a 4-part string thing, and then it just gets bigger and bigger from there. Like I got this great like plugin with a sample library that I've just been playing around with, and then every once in a while my playing around yields something that I'm like, oh, that's actually really cool. That would be great to have on the record, kind of thing. And yeah, it's always something I've loved. Like I just got the Elton John record on vinyl, and I listened to that. That's one of my favorites that I've got.
Isn't vinyl great?
Oh, well, you guys got me into vinyl, actually, because the last time I was here, you gifted me the Star Nation vinyl.
That's right.
And that was you unlocked quite the beast. Because now I think I counted before I came here. I have like 170 records.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
100? Oh, wow.
Yeah, so, it's insane.
So do you have them like in, I guess, milk crates, or do you have like a shelf?
I've got a shelf, yeah. That slowly,
right.
It started like this wide, and now it's grown to way, like I had to get rid of so many books because of all the records.
We started a monster here.
Yeah, you really did. But I love it. Like, it's just like, it's the way to listen to music.
Sure.
Like the artwork and the I like that string arrangement. Who did it? Right. I can just look at I don't have to Google it for like 9 hours and sift through all the.
That's right.
All the credits. It's just right there. And it's been really cool because I found I like the way the song is produced. There's a producer. What else has he done? And I'm finding so many more like nuances to it too. I'm kind of a bad musician because I used to only really listen to music in the car because it's the only way I had time really before.
Right.
But you miss so much because the car's loud. There's other drivers. And I am notorious for a bit of the old road rage. So I'm usually yelling at another driver and missing what's happening in the song. So it's great to just be able to sit and do nothing and just listen and take it all in, and you hear parts that you never heard, and it's like, oh, that's a little bit of genius in there, or that's a little bit of jamming that was amazing. And yeah, I love to steal ideas from
that's good.
listening to music that way.
Well, I mean, it's not stealing; you're being inspired.
Right? Yeah. It
right?
inspires an original.
That's right. Isn't imitation the greatest form of flattery?
I like to think so. I like to think so. It also helps that I listen to a lot of older music where, they're doing fine, and a lot of them are dead, so they won't mind.
And with the older sort of music as well, and musicians, this was all pre-auto-tune and pre-quantizing. So when you listen to those recordings, those people really had to, be a master of their instrument and their craft, and perform all together in an ensemble and get that on a record.
Right? Yeah. And that's something that, I'm so lazy that I would rather just take it again than edit it. I could fly in that vocal, but it's easier to just sing it again. Yeah.
That's right.
And I hate, I know when I listen back to something I've done, which is so rare, but I'm like, oh, here comes an edit. Am I going to hear it? Because I know it's coming. I edited it. I mixed it. And it drives me nuts to know where the edits are. So I'd rather know that there's that perfect audio file with no cuts or crossfades that I just did it. But
right.
Yeah, I'm just weird.
And what kind of edits are you doing? Are they vocal edits because maybe you hit a bad note on a second verse, or there are more structural edits? Because sometimes I'll see a band record a song from start to finish, and then when it gets to the mixing stage, we don't need that third verse after for all, and then they ended up shortening the song.
It's usually a structural thing.
Okay.
Or if I am brave enough to try drumming, it's timing on the drums. Because, 4 limbs at once is hard.
It is hard. It is hard. That's right. It is. I don't know how drummers do it. You guys are amazing.
And like I gas out halfway through the song. It's a physical activity. Like I'm usually just leaning back and playing guitar and burning very few calories. It's harder to drum.
Well, the drummer in our band is constantly eating. Hi, Alex, if you're watching the show, but we know why. You expend a lot of energy.
Yeah. You look better than us too.
That's
like
right. Great. So, you're gonna be working on the new record, and do you have a tentative release date?
We don't yet. So this one I want to be different. I want to play as many of the songs live as much as I can before we go to record it.
That's a good idea.
Because I found with the stuff that I've written, recorded, sat on, then released, it's like by the time we release it, it's almost a different song. Like because we've rehearsed it, we've played it,
and it evolves all the time.
When you give it to other people, they bring their own awesome ideas to it that you're like, oh shit, I wish I thought of that at the time. So we're gonna try and play as much of it as we can live before really cementing it down. There's a few songs where I'm like, okay, this isn't gonna be a huge played live song, and I want it out of my brain, so I will record it. But yeah, I think we played a few of them at the Dakota, actually.
Yeah, because I think you mentioned at least once or twice you introduced a song that was new. And, right.
Yeah, so it'll be fun. It'll be interesting. It'll be a publicist's nightmare because they're all long songs and some of them have bad words in them. So
what's the average length of the song? Like long, like 10, 15 minutes, or 4 or 5 minutes?
Like 5 to 6, I'd say.
Okay.
So it's not...
Well, good luck trying to get on the radio.
Right? We may have to do... there's one
radio edits?
Radio edits. There's one where I'm like, okay, it's 4 minutes. I don't have all the lyrics yet, but it's just under 4 minutes. Don't put a bad word in it, and that's the one. We can push that one, and we'll be fine.
Okay.
But,
And what have you learned, I guess, from your last process of recording versus what you're doing now? Is there something you learned from the last time that's, oh man, I should have done that, or you learned how to do something easier because you learned something new about how the audio works, or how some sort of technical aspect?
Yeah, it's definitely. I'm getting sounds the way I want them on the way in now, instead of just like getting a good performance and then fixing it in post, essentially, or mixing it in post. So I have been fortunate enough to be able to splash a bit of cash on gear.
Okay.
So now I can like get things where I want them to, or at least the way I want them to sound before, like on the way in, instead of like recording a vocal with nothing on it and being like, don't worry, it'll sound good later. Like
right.
It can sound good now, and that's a lot of fun. I think it affects my performance too, because like you can lean into a compressor or a reverb when you're performing with it.
You can play off it, right?
Yeah, exactly. It becomes an instrument then instead of just a tool.
That's right.
So that's something I have been really having fun with more than anything. Is just like so I now spend about like it's like 3/4 of the time is getting the sound, and then like 5 minutes goes into recording it, and then because it's all about chasing that sound.
Sure.
And the other thing is I just crank my amps now, and clean is just a little bit less dirty.
Okay.
Instead of there being a clean sound and a dirty sound, it's just play lighter and back off on the guitar volume. And
Right.
It's
so
just
you're
magic.
working the dynamics of the amp.
Yeah.
I'll assume it's a tube amplifier, so you get the headroom and all that kind of stuff. Oh, okay, that's great.
Yeah, so that's the other thing. I think we spoke about our love of Vox amps a lot on the last episode.
I think we have some here somewhere.
But now I've fallen in love with the Marshall Plexis.
Oh, sweet.
Yeah, so that it started with a necessity because tubes are so hard to find, and my Vox blew.
Oh no!
So that was 6 or 7 months without it.
Oh.
And I always wanted a Marshall Plexi, a reissue, of course, because I'm not rich. But I literally tripped over one in Long McQuaid, and I thought that must be a sign.
It's a
I'm
sign.
going to impulse buy this amp, and I did. And I've fallen in love with it, and it just is magic.
Yeah, I used to own, and probably Laura might remember this. I used to own a full stack Marshall, but then I got rid of it because good luck trying to carry like 2 cabinets, and then
And where can you use it? Like,
That's right. Exactly. Where can you use that?
Yeah,
That's right.
I show up to most venues and the sound guy just cries like before I've even like, trust me, it has an attenuator. It's okay.
That's right.
And it's not okay. It's loud.
I see a lot of people on the road these days, actually for the past few years now, using the Line 6 systems and other sort of similar amps, simulators, because you don't have to carry an amp.
Yeah.
It's easier to fly with. It goes in a road case. Could even be a carry-on, and away you go.
Yeah, so a buddy of mine, Scott Olgard, shout out to him. He's a really great guitar player in the Aurelia area. Most of the time, he just uses I can't remember what it's called. I think the Simplifier. And it's it fits on his pedal board. So he shows up to a gig with a guitar and a pedal board, and we got together for our guitar nerd night that we have every once in a while and just basically show each other gear. Okay. He was showing me the Simplifier, and it does sound really great, but for me, it's the feel. It just it doesn't respond the way I want it to.
That's right. I know exactly what you mean.
And it's I'll do a thing where I'm like, okay, I know what this is gonna do, and it doesn't do it. And then I look at my hands they're the problem. But yeah, it's the tubes. You need the tubes.
You do, because you get that headroom and that nuance and all that other kind of good stuff that comes with tubes.
Yeah.
I mean, the amp simulators now, they've done a great job, I think, but I don't think they're 100% there yet. And I use them more out of convenience. Again, if I'm on a tour and I don't want to carry an amp and it's a small room, I'll just go direct into the system.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah, I use some plug-in versions too when it's 3 a.m. and I'm like, I have an idea. And I have to not wake anybody up.
Great. Any favorite plugins that you're using in terms of guitar amp sounds?
I'm using all the stock Pro Tools ones.
Okay.
Yeah, and they are fine.
Okay. Excellent.
They're fine. They're nothing special, but they sound a little better than just going straight into a interface preamp. So
right.
I can get a vibe. It's not quite what I will end up with, but it sells the vibe at least of what I needed to remember at 4 a.m. when I have all my great ideas.
Okay.
Or ideas.
And now, when these ideas come to you, is there any specific sort of theme or subject matter that this new record's going to be about? Or is it, again, a collection of songs and experiences from yourself?
It's definitely thematic. I'm not sure if the subject matter of the song is what sort of ties them all together or more of a sound direction that I'm going in. I think it's hard to label my sound in one direction because I like to go in lots at once. But this is a little more alternative grungy a little bit. There's a little more attitude in it.
All right.
I'd say so. There's a lot more swearing in it.
Oh, no. Good luck. Okay.
So it is.
6-minute songs and swearing. Good luck trying to get on the radio.
It's terrible. Well, one of the biggest inspirations for writing this record is, I don't know if you know the band Gang of Youths at all. They're an Australian sort of rock band.
I'm not familiar with them, no.
They are so cool.
Okay, I'll have to check that out.
Yeah, so they released an album called Angel in Real Time last year, I guess 2022, and it was it's one of my favorite albums of all time. It's so beautifully written, and it's a concept album essentially. I'm pretty sure it's about his father passed away. So it's a whole album dedicated to kind of dealing with that. And it's magic. And I you listen to it and it's almost like a new record every time because there's so much that you don't get on a first listen that you do get on a 7th listen. And so they're a very art first, commercial success later kind of record. It's their 3rd record and they're way more established, and it's kind of stupid of me to do this, but but that's kind of where the inspiration came from. It's getting out what I feel, I guess.
Right.
And the language is, I apologize for it. There's a lot of time. I have a little disclaimer before one of them. And there's just, it's so funny. We had to do a family friendly set and there were 3 songs were nope, not happening.
All right. Is that because of the content or the language?
Yeah, a bit of both.
Okay.
Yeah, it's I guess the subject matter is sort of just what's been happening in my life lately, and it's definitely, it's not I'm having a bad time, but I'm thinking about stuff, especially what's going on in the world, which is often where I draw my inspiration from, and kind of how it relates to our society, and especially being a young person in it, and kind of having to deal with like, wow, we are inheriting a very broken like world, not even system, like all the systems.
Right,
and it's great, cool. What are we going to do about it? Right now, I'm going to get grumpy and get angsty in my songwriting, and we'll deal with it later.
Right. Well, I mean, music's been a big part of social change,
exactly,
and part of protests, and even in, inspiring people to do something about whatever situation they're concerned about.
Yeah.
Are there any sort of causes or organizations that you throw your support behind, especially in terms of music as well? Like, say, for example, Organization A said, "Hey, we want to use your music to promote, some better living concept or whatever it is they're trying to do."
I haven't had a huge crossover in that aspect because I kind of feel like you can't call yourself an activist until like other people can look at what you've done and be like, that's great or not, because otherwise what do you want to be an activist to say you're an activist, or do you actually want to do something about it?
Right.
So I kind of just leave those labels and connections to be drawn by other people. And I just sort of I'm going to write what I write and say what I say. Right. And if it resonates with you, great. If not, that's cool. I have a lot of songs about nothing also.
Okay. Sure.
But so a lot of what I've been doing sort of outside of music is very activist related. And then it kind of fuels the songwriting. So I'll learn a lot of, just learn stories from some of the people that I'm working with and dealing with and stuff like that. And then bits of it will get into, or ideas that they give me will get into songs. So I can't think of an example off the top of my head, but it's I just did this work with a great little community up in rural Ontario where I live. There's a place called Negro Creek.
Okay, whereabouts is that?
It's sort of like on Highway 6, just before, just south of Owen Sound.
Oh, okay.
And it's it's not even a town. It's just an actual creek that is called Negro Creek.
Okay.
And a friend of mine called me in to sort of just help him with the administrative side of his activism project that he was working on. And I was like, it was the middle of COVID, so I had nothing going on. And I was super into you mean I can go outside? I'm up for it. So we just kind of met a bunch of, Negro Creek is a area where black settlers first came to rural Ontario, and they had a little community up there. So I got to meet all these descendants from that area and learn that their history has just been totally erased. And so our work was just sort of to, we didn't do much. We just put a plaque up essentially is listen, this is what this area used to be, kind of thing. And isn't that's important, kind of thing. But the problem they have, though, is it's in real rural Ontario, and people just see the word Negro Creek and vandalize the sign all the time. Right. So that was where the kind of work came in. But what was so cool is we went to these two sisters that are descendants from these people own this Black History Museum in rural Ontario that I didn't even know was there. And we spent a day there, and they have this great little trail that you go through, and it's like a tiny little town. And you start in Africa with a bunch of artifacts and stories from different places there. And then that room is crazy because it starts out really great and positive, look at all our culture, kind of thing, and then by the end of it, it's the slave trade. So it hits you and just there's a lot of stories and emotions from just that whole experience that is fueling what I'm doing now. Even indirectly, if it's a line or two from a song, or just a vibe, or an angry guitar sound to match the way some of that made me feel. So it's a loose connection to it, but it's all sort of fueling this overall, just to be more conscious of of all of it, of all of the history that we've had, especially in this country with, that's sort of where my next steps are, is to educate myself on that a little bit more, dive into that side of things.
So I asked your dad this because we were talking more about the literary
Right.
side of things.
Yeah.
And how many times, or do you take incidents from your real life or characters from like people that you know and turn them into characters in your songs?
Yes.
Do you do that
definitely.
a lot? Is that where you get a lot of your ideas, or there just has to be an interesting story and you want to tell it?
On this record is kind of where I've started to do that. There have been some people in my life that couldn't not be songs, basically.
Okay. That's right. I think we all know people like that.
And so but doing it in a way that's not offensive and not like,
Sure.
hey, all my close personal friends and family, this is who this is about. It's kind of a fun challenge.
Sure.
But also I try and just be careful that I'm not divulging too much of
course,
interactions I've had with another person that doesn't necessarily want these songs to be aired. Like,
Gotcha.
My goal is that they know exactly what's going on,
Okay.
and everyone else is just like,
Right.
catchy tune.
Okay. So you don't have any diss songs or anything?
It's
Okay.
we're not doing any diss tracks
All right.
or anything like that. That'll maybe fourth album.
That's right. My fourth album only about people I'm
fourth
mad at.
album,
That's right.
yeah. All bets are off.
Oh, great. So I guess while you're recording, are you planning shows coming up for this year as well?
So lots of shows. We'll be down in we have a bunch of potential Toronto dates on the. I originally reached out to you for this because I had a Toronto date.
That's right. I remember
and that fell apart, and
Okay.
we now have 3 potential ones to replace it.
Okay.
So we know that we will be back at the Dakota Tavern in July.
Oh, sweet.
So
okay. Yeah. Great.
See you sometime in
We'll
July.
see you in July. That's right, yeah.
And there's a couple other ones that are kind of up in the works. I was frantically on my way down trying to solidify something to tell you about, but yeah, nothing set in stone just yet. But if we keep an eye on socials, that'll happen.
Right.
But yeah, we're really trying to get out into new markets this year. That's kind of our goal. So we have already hit Guelph. For the first time, which was awesome.
And where did you perform there?
The Onyx Night Club.
Okay.
Shout that place out. It was so much fun. For a matinee, we really had a raucous time.
Oh, excellent.
So, yeah, that was great. Where else? We're heading back up to Bracebridge in March. And trying to get in that Aurelia crowd a little bit.
Right. And have you submitted to like any of the music festivals?
Oh, yeah. So literally on the way down, I think it was the Mariposa, like open showcase kind of thing.
They're having, that's right, auditions.
Yeah,
that's right.
Yeah,
right,
so I was doing that on the car trip down to the city today. So yeah, I got a bunch of new data so I can work on the road.
Oh, there you go.
But yeah, we're still kind of booking more into the year, I suppose. And there's a lot of balls in the air and a lot of things to remember. So I'm grateful for my keyboard player / father / manager, Rob Ritchie, to help kind of keep my wandering brain on one task at a time and see a show out before I start to book 5 new ones. And
Right.
Because I'm a pretty scattered person most of the time. Yeah.
All right. So the only possible show is possibly July coming up.
Probably. We'll be back in the city.
Okay.
2 or 3 times probably this year, but that's the only one with even potential dates at the moment, but there are more in the works that we'll get down here lots.
And so what's kind of the biggest challenge? Because I've been talking to a lot of musicians like post-COVID, and I was even talking to your dad about this. There's like a backlog or a bottleneck, it seems, of artists and musicians trying to get into different venues, because for the last 2 years, no venue was open, no one was putting on any shows, and now there's a backlog because these different events and venues, they want to offer the original show that was offered back in 2020. So they're giving these artists the first right of refusal, and that's leaving all these other artists coming out with new albums. They're kind of left, on the back burner, kind of like, what's going to happen? Am I going to get a show? Have you been experiencing that, or?
Yeah, like so many, especially festivals, I'm finding, like they're still like, we're still kind of rebooking 2020 stuff.
Yeah.
And like, thanks for submitting kind of thing, but like we still got all this to work through.
Right.
Which is, it's nobody's fault. Like,
no, of
it's
course
neither
not.
here nor there. Right. But the thing we're finding is the hardest thing is like not necessarily booking the shows, but getting there. Like with the
transportation?
Yeah, the transportation, and with a 4-piece band that we don't necessarily travel light.
Okay.
It's tricky. And like, there's a lot of our.
You must take multiple vehicles, or you take one big.
I wish.
Okay.
I've literally been thinking about, like, we have this at my day job. We have like a work truck, and I think. I hate it because I say it all the time. It's too much car for me. Okay. I can't park it. I can't turn. Like,
what kind of vehicle is it? Just out of curiosity?
It's like a Ford big pickup truck kind of thing. But I always think like, oh, we could fit the whole band and all the gear in here and comfortably. Like,
that's right.
What a luxury. But yeah, we usually have to take 2 cars and sacrifice a amp or a keyboard or sometimes a person.
Right.
To make it work. So that's the biggest hurdle we found is that mostly. And a little bit getting people to come out to stuff.
It's difficult.
Yeah, it's a different world.
I've noticed that post-COVID.
Yeah.
I mean, not just for live shows, but even just going to the restaurants.
Right.
I'll talk to the local restaurant owners here in our neighborhood, and they're not even filled to capacity since post-COVID. So.
Yeah, it's great. Like, even like we used to have these. We have a cottage, a family cottage kind of thing that my cousins and I have, now that we're getting to that party age, we realized, like, this is great for this. Why did we have all these rules when we were kids? We should just go there and have fun. But even, like, we throw these parties out there, and everyone's like, oh, yeah, I'll try and make it. It's like, it's a party with free drinks, and people are still turning it down. Like, that's wild to me. Like after 2 years of nothing, we like the nothing, it seems.
It seems that way.
Yeah.
It seems like we're accepting lower quality products and even entertainment in place of what was more amazing pre-pandemic.
Yeah.
Is that like I've been trying to rack my brain around that as well, but I'm not sure. Did people just get complacent or used to being in a certain state?
Yeah,
of nothingness?
It's the comfort maybe of when. I mean, it was nice in COVID when, you wanted a bottle of wine and it came right to your door. Sure. Or like all that stuff is great. But, I'm ready to get back out there and do stuff again and see people face to face. And like that's my favorite part about the whole music industry is like you are always going places and seeing new people, and I mean it makes me crap with names, but like it's so much fun to go and meet a whole new crowd of people, and then you have your groups in different areas, and like that's how I grew up with my dad being in a touring band. Like we still have pockets of friends in England and in Minnesota and in all over the world that are like good friends that we go see. Like maybe it's once every few years, but it's great. You always have little homes away from home kind of thing.
Right.
Yeah.
So ideally, you want to do like a national tour if you could, providing, I mean, the shows, and you had transportation and all that was taken care of. You would go across Canada.
Oh yeah, I'd go anywhere really. If you want to hear me, I will make noise for you.
Sure.
Yeah, because I think that's the long-term goal. Really, is to just attempt to be as borderless as possible, and and like my favorite, the one thing I like about the streaming platforms and stuff is you can see all over the world where your music has been played, and that's fun.
That's
like, when you pull up your phone and you're like, oh, I've got like so many 100 plays in Buenos Aires today. Like, cool. Like,
that's right.
Who would have thought?
Exactly.
I don't speak Spanish, so I assume they speak English or they're vibing with the groove, but I don't care. Right. It's just cool. The long-term goal is just to see the world and make noise at the same time and not have a real job.
Sure. Well, I mean, it is kind of a real job.
It is. The more I'm in this, I'm like, they tricked me. This is a real job.
Yeah, because, after a while, I every now and then I post this funny meme of a guy sitting at the piano. He's like playing on like a dinner theater. In his head, he's saying, I don't enjoy this anymore.
There are points when it gets that way. When you're on your 700 cold call email for the day, when you're like, wait a minute, this is an office job. I'm just on my couch in my pajamas. But yeah, they conned me.
They conned you. That's how they get you. Yeah, that's right. I always tell people whenever I'm doing like a panel or a seminar, the first 10 minutes of my presentation is trying to convince people to get out of the music business or not get into it in the first place. Yeah. And if they're still in the room, then I'll continue the presentation and away we go. But
you scared off some weak
scared
ones.
off some of the.
Yeah.
It's the weeding out process.
Right? Yeah.
But it is very challenging, the arts, not just music, but
for
I was talking to
sure.
your dad about even just trying to put a book together, or
Yeah.
even visual artists as well.
Yeah.
And it seems like there's not enough, I don't know, support from either the community or even, say, sometimes government agencies in terms of grants.
Yeah.
And now we have the threat of AI coming in
God.
and starting to create artworks.
Yeah.
Now it's been writing articles for a sports magazine for a couple months now.
Jeez.
And without anyone noticing.
Yeah.
So do you foresee AI coming in and maybe, putting us both out of business?
It's my biggest fear, probably. Like, I watched this. There's this great guy on YouTube, Rick Beato, who like.
Oh, Rick Beato, yeah, of course.
Yeah,
Yes,
he's
right.
awesome.
Yeah.
And he had one video that was entitled "Why Autotune is Killing Music," and I was like, oh, love it, ready, I'm all here for it. And it was actually a much more terrifying direction than I thought the video was going to be. And I went into it being like, yeah, me and Rick, we're going to lay into Autotune. This will be fun. And then by the end of it, I was like, I'm actually scared, like, because he was talking about the AI thing and how they can write a song, but not just lyrics, but music too, and that music is so simple now in the mainstream anyways.
That's right. Yeah.
Like already that nobody's gonna tell a difference between an AI auto generated Drake song or a real Drake song. No offense, Drake.
Sure.
But
yeah, I don't think he watches the show.
I
But
don't
in case
think
he does,
you never know. No
sorry,
offense,
buddy.
man. Yeah,
That's right.
But like, yeah, it was really, for someone who's trying to go a big long song orchestration album melody concept way, to think a computer is gonna write a song about a like two-dimensional breakup that will get a billion hits is like, that's a bummer.
Yeah, it is.
But I think also you have to realize, like, that's not really why I'm doing it. Is I know that I'm a niche. I'm okay with being a niche. And it's more that I've got stuff to say, and my dog isn't listening enough.
Right.
So I got to put it in a song and get it out there. And if people like it, hey, that's fun. But,
and is that your primary motivation? Is you have these stories and these ideas, whether they be lyrical or melody, that you need to get out?
I think so. Yeah. It's something I ask myself all the time. It's like, why am I doing this? Like, I'm an idiot sometimes. But yeah, I think it is just that I have so many, like, and I've started doing it with other things too, like just random stuff. Like I've been writing like reviews of movies I like or don't like, just for myself, but just because I have to get it out there.
Gotcha.
And I think that's where the whole songwriting thing came from, is just like, I've got stuff that I need to get, even if nobody hears it, I have to get it out of me. Because then I don't sleep and I become a crabby person to deal with.
That's right.
So yeah, I think that's what it is. And I've been noticing that too. It's just like with COVID and like the whole mental health side of it. I'm like, why am I just like grumpy all the time? I haven't played enough. I haven't shared music enough. I haven't like, there's all this stuff that's in me that I haven't been able to get out, that I find that's kind of why I keep doing it, I guess. It's just got to get out. That's a good question. I think time is the biggest thing. Like I have just sort of, I got a really cool new job with shout out CTRE Productions, who they are this really cool, they're doing all sorts of cool stuff. And actually we made we made a couple videos together before I started working there, and then I was sick of serving tables and I was like, hey Russ, do you need an audio guy? And he was like, sure. So that was sweet, but it does take up a little bit more time. So there's that. It's mostly just the time I can spend on it, I think.
Because you're recording everything like in your home studio.
Yeah.
So it's not so much you need to come up with this money to go rent out Revolution.
And like home studios are great. Like you don't, it's amazing. I mean, you got to work a little harder. You don't have a team of people being like, that's the take, or it's a lot more self-evaluation, which is,
and you got to set up all your own mic stands and everything. And then
you
the
can't
cables
just
yourself.
sit there and be that's not where that mic goes. It's a lot more trial and error too.
That's right. Yeah.
But I like it better. I don't know that I could go to a big studio where I have a time constraint in other people. Like, so much of my process is trying and failing miserably,
Sure.
that I'd be horrified if there were other people in the room.
Right.
To I don't want to break that magic, you know.
Right.
Like, you hear the record and it sounds good, but
Yeah.
it doesn't sound good until the minute it goes out. Like, it sounds like crap.
Right.
And yeah, so it is. The home studio thing is, I've fallen in love with it. Like, I don't think I could ever go any other way.
Right. And like you said, you work at your own pace as well.
Yeah, you work at your own pace and you can have fun. Like, you don't have to think like, oh, that was $200 that I'll never get back. It's like, that take was crap. Whatever. We laugh it off. Sure. Hope we get a little snippet for the gag reel.
That's right. Yeah. That's right. The
And
blooper reel.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. And you can nerd out more. You can spend an hour with one compressor to get it just right, or you can spend like, what guitar is the best guitar? I don't know. I'll do a take on every one, and we'll see how it fits in the mix. Or like, yeah, you can. It's more fun, I think.
Right.
I've really never gone to a big studio and had to do.
Well, you know,
little
big studios
bits
are
and-
also pretty fun. Too,
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot more toys.
That's right.
And
someone's doing all the work for you, literally.
Yeah, you do get to just show up and be like,
That's right.
hold my coat, I'm rocking a take,
Exactly.
and then call me when it's done.
That's right.
Yeah.
I mean, I have a guitar tech on my sessions. I don't even tune my own guitar.
That's so funny. That's something that, like, because every once in a while I get to do a show where I can bring more than one guitar, and it makes you realize guitar techs are a necessary part of bringing more than one guitar on a show, because
They are amazing people.
Yeah. Oh my God. Yeah. I've made friends do it every once in a while. Just be like, hey, can you be my guitar tech? And they're like, what does that mean? Like, tune my guitar and hand it to me.
Sure,
But yeah, it's nice.
Right. And a good guitar tech can also do quick repairs should something happen as well.
I thankfully have not been there, but
Right.
yeah.
Right. So what's your favorite piece of gear? I mean, it could be an instrument, or it could be a compressor, or it could be even a computer. What's your most used item in your studio?
Right now, it's probably the LA2A.
Okay.
Just, I throw that on every vocal take pretty much, and it just sounds like magic.
It's pretty sweet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And a theme of a lot of my songs is the build, which before the LA2A was a pain, because it was like, that's too quiet, that's too loud, and this kind of just takes that struggle away.
Yeah.
But then my Strat is my kind of go-to guitar, like, because it's got the humbuckers and the bridge, so you can go there if you need to. It's not quite a Les Paul, but it gets you close.
Oh yeah,
So
for sure. Yeah.
that's been a lifesaver on the road, because it's like, I can get pretty much every sound with one guitar, and I don't have to bring the rack and scare away all the people. Like, how many guitars is he gonna pull out?
Right. Well, what's the most amount of guitars you've taken to a show?
I think 5.
5.
Yeah.
Oh, way.
Yeah.
I think the most I've taken is what? I don't know. A tour I did a few years ago was 3 or 4.
5 was definitely a mistake. Like, it was too many, because it was outside too, like right at sunset. And
I see.
I managed to put them right where I think there was a hole in the ozone layer or something, and it just, like, the heavens opened up on my guitars, and they were not in tune the whole time. Yeah, so that was a mistake.
Well, that's a challenge, at least I find, about playing outdoors, especially in the summer.
Yeah.
Once the humidity rolls in, good luck trying to keep that guitar in tune.
And good luck trying to see your tuner in
That's
the
right,
daylight. Like, it's just a horrible...
It is.
Yeah.
But people love outdoor concerts.
Oh, yeah, and you can be so much louder, which is so much fun.
Exactly.
Yeah. We're a pretty loud band. We enjoy the ear ring after a show. That's for sure.
Do you wear ear protection? Because I know a lot of bands now, they're very careful about their ears. They're wearing in-ears at low volumes, or they're wearing earplugs.
We're not that smart.
Okay.
We're
well, you're still young.
Yeah, you know what? I'm gonna go deaf like a real rock star.
That's right.
No ear protection. No,
I'll give it another, I don't know, 10, 15 years, and you'll get rid of that Marshall. You'll have a nice little amp like this guy. You'll have earplugs.
Yeah. It's the recklessness of youth, I think, a little bit.
It really is.
Yeah. I always think about in-ears because, like, I want such a niche mix. Like, I don't want to hear anything really but my voice.
Right.
And everyone else is like, we'd kind of like to hear something and just not your amp.
Right.
Yeah, because the amps are so loud that, like, it would be suicide to put them in the in the monitors. But no ear. I do have in-ears.
Okay.
They look nice.
Great.
I haven't
used them yet.
haven't
Okay.
used them
All
yet,
right.
but yeah.
Well, the thing with in-ears too, I mean, part of the challenge is you have to set up an ambient mic on, depending on the size of the stage, because you can't hear anything. If some guy yells at you, "Hey, look out for the," you can't hear that, right? So it's like,
Yeah. It was so funny. We did a show where there was a part where I wanted everyone to sing along. So we were trying to get everyone to sing along. And I kept kind of like egging them on. Like, come on, you can do better than that. And then I see some of their faces and they are singing along. We're just so loud. We couldn't hear them at all. Okay. I was like, sorry, guys. Great work. Actually, couldn't hear you, but appreciate the effort.
Well, I think any sound guy would tell you the key for good stage mix is keep your volumes low.
Yeah.
Your amps low on stage.
Yeah, they don't like us.
Okay. Well, you'll get there.
Yeah,
don't worry.
I mean, they don't at first. It works out in the end. It all comes together.
Right.
But yeah, there's some local places where I know the sound guy like outside of that relationship, and I told him like, oh yeah, like can't wait to see you next Thursday. By the way, I'll be bringing my new Marshall, and he just texted me back like, just like ... Oh, I was like, nice. He's scared. That's where I like him.
Okay. And how much does the Marshall weigh? You got to carry that around.
It's not. Yeah, it's not light.
Okay.
It's like I only have a 212. Like I'm not. Okay. Yeah, it's not.
It's not
crazy.
A 412.
Yeah. Right. So, it's not light, but it's a little exercise before the show. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, carrying around an AC30 is no fun either. It's about 70 pounds.
Actually, I think my AC15 is probably heavier than the 212.
Oh, really? Holy.
Yeah.
Wow, yeah.
And the head's fine. Like it's just the head, but just the head, right. Like, weirdly enough, it might be a little heavier.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we're coming up to the last few minutes of the show. Any last minute things you want to plug, or anything you want listeners and viewers to hear about that you're going to do?
I guess we'll keep in touch on the social media.
Okay. And how can people follow you on social media?
Instagram and Facebook at Josh Ritchie Music, YouTube they have the ats now. I think it's Josh Ritchie Music. If it's not, it will be.
If you send us the link, we'll post it on the
right on.
Yeah.
And that's where all the shows get announced, and we'll keep in touch that way and hope to see some people out at some stuff. And there will be lots of releases coming up. I don't know when yet. We're still in early stages. We were chatting, actually. We are going to re-release that first record at some point. I'm not sure when. Okay. Whenever we have time to get to it, I suppose. There you go. But
time's a challenge for you,
right? Yeah, that's right, it's time. Yeah, my time management is poor.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, you can work on it.
I'm still
young. What time do you get
up,
for example, in the morning?
Oh, it depends on early, usually.
Okay.
I've recently started drinking coffee.
Oh,
wow. Because that's how early I'm getting up these days.
Okay.
And how late I'm going to bed.
All right.
So, yay, coffee. Shout out coffee.
All right. Yeah. I miss coffee. I stopped drinking coffee a couple months ago, but I do understand it's important if you get up early.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. It's always fun in the winter, right? To go to bed, come home in the dark and leave in the dark.
That's right. Yeah.
You miss all the sunlight.
It's always dark. That's right.
Yeah.
But I mean, now I think we're over the hump and the days are getting longer.
Yeah. I got out of work the other day, like in daylight, and I was like, this feels weird. Like,
that's right. Yeah.
It's like, I'm not allowed to see the daylight.
It's like you're kind of like a vampire.
Yeah. Like, what is this shiny thing in the sky?
Well, great. It's always a pleasure talking to you, Josh. And I love your music. And I love seeing you play. So keep in touch, and we'll have you back on the show when you have another show coming up.
Awesome.
As well as when the record comes out.
Yeah.
We'd love to hear about how you finished it, and of course all the tracks. We'd love to hear the music.
Awesome. Thank you. I appreciate you guys so much. Thanks for having me. This is always so much fun to chat.
It is.
Yeah.
Especially talking to another musician.
Right? Like
absolutely.
I don't get to have these musician on musician chats enough. It's
almost like we have to do another show where we just have like a music podcast.
Yeah,
that's right.
Yeah, like it's like we're a weird breed, I think.
Yes.
And it's nice to just be like, oh, you get me.
That's
like,
right.
Yeah,
exactly. That's right. It's a community,
right?
A brotherhood.
Yeah,
that's right.
Yeah. We can all be weird together.
That's right. Absolutely. Well, now that we shut off the cameras, we can even talk weird. Okay. Well, that's a lot. Yeah. Okay.
We won't get too weird until the cameras go off.
Well, thanks again, Josh. Really appreciate it. And
awesome.
Thank you for watching and listening.